Hey y'all, I'm Shanice and welcome back to Transit Talk. In today's episode, we are covering the astrology for the week of April the 14th through the 20th. And let me just say, this week is not soft. We've got tension, clarity, movement, and some big spiritual redirects coming in this week. Now, it's not chaotic in the way eclipse season was, but it is the kind of week where your energy speaks louder than your words, and your patterns speak louder than your intentions. So, the cards I pulled for this week couldn't align more with the astrology. Two cards came out while I was shuffling, and to me, they represent a lot of us trying to align our thoughts with our actions. First up, we've got the Five of Wands, and the second card is the Page of Swords. Both of these cards are grounded by the Emperor. These cards are giving productive friction, internal tension, mental breakthroughs, and learning to navigate conflict without losing your cool. So, some of us might be bumping up against external resistance or even your own inner resistance. But what's important is how you show up, how you respond. Not everything needs to be a battle, not every message needs to be a rebuttal. Sometimes you just need to listen, take note, and move differently. Now, the Page of Swords is a curious, alert, and is watching everything type of energy. But paired with the Five of Wands, it can get a little too reactive or defensive. So if you feel yourself spiraling, asking too many questions, or trying to figure out other people's motives, take a pause, bring it back to you, and ask yourself, what's the lesson here? Where's your energy trying to lead you? Instead of your mind, like where does your mind want to obsess? Let's get our minds off of that. And grounding all of these, or both of these cards, is the Emperor, which I absolutely love personally, especially with the Saturn conjunct the North Node today while I'm recording this. And Taurus season is starting for us this weekend. So this is a week to step into your authority and to own your own choices, set the structure that works for you instead of trying to fit someone else's blueprint. Think back to that Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces last Monday, April the 7th. And even if things feel uncertain or messy, you still get to lead yourself. So, what do you know about yourself and what do you want? That's what this emperor energy embodies. It's a very mature and passionate energy. And astrologically, we are wrapping up some major retrograde cycles with Mercury. Mercury is finally moving back into Aries this week, and Mars is moving back into Leo. So, this basically means we're stepping into forward motion after months of emotionally processing something or some sort of energetic recalibration that we were going through earlier this year. You might start to feel clearer on your direction, even if you don't know where you're going or you don't have all of the details just yet. And by the time we get to the 20th, Venus will conjunct the North Node, Mercury will sextile Pluto, and the Sun will square Mars during the third quarter moon phase. So that's a lot of movement, perspective shifts, and karmic nudges all hitting us at once this week. So, yeah, this week is about facing the friction without flinching, and it's asking us to like choose curiosity over control and to remember that being empowered doesn't always mean being in control. It means knowing where to place your energy and where to pull it back. It's giving divine strategy, active listening, embodied leadership, and a reminder that not all resistance is bad. Sometimes it's just showing you where you need to level up. So let's get into last week's recap, and I'm going to combine it in this episode with the personal transits corner. And I'm going to tell y'all what's been going on for me, with me, and kind of like how it aligns with you. Maybe you can see how it resonates in your life. But last week for me personally was a lot. And I mean that in like the deepest way possible. If you've been following the astrology, we had Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces, like I mentioned earlier. And we're headed into or we actually just had the full moon in Libra as of yesterday, as I'm recording this episode. And that Libra full moon and the Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces is asking us, or it's bringing up a lot around relationships, boundaries, justice, and the emotional cost of silence, like we pay. And that's not just astrology talk. I really felt that in my body. And even when I was having conversations with people throughout the week, a lot of people were talking about their boundaries and where they're starting to like just be more silent and just not give their all, balancing that energy within their relationships. And I actually ended up going to the hands on protest last weekend, which, if you haven't heard about it, please look it up. It's a powerful movement confronting systemic injustices about police violence and also other things like I just mentioned, the systemic injustice. But I didn't plan on being interviewed, but I was by the Denver Post, and that alone for me felt like a full circle moment. Like my voice is being heard in ways that I did not expect because I did not expect to be interviewed. And that is the wildest part. Because I wasn't looking for that. And I was invited by a lady that I met. She's actually in her 60s, and she reminds me so much of my dad. So that's how I got there. And to me, that's how spirit works. Like it's getting you out of your comfort zone. And I know a part of this for me was like healing some ancestral work about reclaiming my power and breaking silence and me being witnessed and not afraid of being perceived. And honestly, being there cracked something open for me because I realized how many power dynamics I've experienced personally, especially in the military and the entertainment industry. Also in like spiritual spaces, even with like my client dynamics, where I feel like my energy was being used, but my voice wasn't truly being heard. Where I felt like I was being seen, but I didn't feel like I was being honored. And last week I realized I don't want to do that anymore. And that's where the astrology last week probably hit hard for you too, because Venus and Saturn is pushing us to mature and to really reflect our value systems, not just talk about it, but actually live it. So I personally raised my prices, and I even implemented a pre-screening process for all of my readings because I feel like personally my work is very sacred and I want to work with people who honor that, not just try to consume it. So if y'all have been moving through similar lessons around your worth, your voice, your boundaries, just know that you're not alone in this. And this past week was asking us to choose integrity over people pleasing in our relationships. It was asking us to choose legacy over comfort. And that Libra full moon, it wasn't just about relationships. It's about having the right relationships with yourself, the right relationship with others, the right relationship with spirit, the right relationship with karma, with justice. That's what that Libra full moon, Venus conjunct the North Node, this whole eclipse season really was trying to show us and illuminate in our lives. So that concludes the recap and personal transits corner. Now let's get to the daily breakdown. And we start with Monday, April the 14th. The moon will be in Scorpio all day. So this is a quiet, heavy, and reflective type of day. It's like an emotional detox, low key type of energy. You might feel a little extra sensitive or reflective, like you are doing some sort of shadow work, or like spirit is working behind the scenes and you can't really explain what's going on. That's that Scorpio moon energy on Monday. This moon is the moon in Scorpio tends to bring up emotional truths. It brings it to the surface, even if you weren't planning to deal with them. So there are no major aspects on Monday, but we're still sitting in that echo energy from the Saturn conjunct the North Node on Sunday when I'm recording this. So it's not light energy, it's very karmic, it's ancestral. It's giving responsibility to your path. That's that type of energy. So you might be feeling pressure to grow, to change, to lead, or to finally make peace with something you've been avoiding. Now, some positive expressions of this on Monday would be deep spiritual insights or inner clarity, feeling empowered to release an emotional pattern, taking your healing more seriously and in a more grounded way. Now, some challenging expressions of this would be moodiness, avoidance, or spiraling into some sort of emotional loop, feeling like something is off but not really having words for it, over identifying your pain. Now, what you can do, you can journal, do a quiet ritual, or some sort of activity that involves an emotional reset for you. Give yourself space. This is not a performative type of day. Pay attention to the signs, the synchronicities, or even your dreams when you wake up on Monday. Now, some questions that you can ask yourself throughout Monday are: what is my body trying to release or process right now? What does healing actually look like for me at this point in my life? Where have I outgrown the version of me I've been holding on to? Now, let's move over to Tuesday, April the 15th. The moon is in Scorpio most of Tuesday, but will move into Sagittarius um, on Tuesday evening. So, this is emotional clarity turning into spiritual momentum. Early in the day, we're probably still in deep feelings, like we're deep in our feelings with the Scorpio moon, but instead of drowning in them, we are starting to find the language, the meaning, and starting to move a bit more. It's like the fog is starting to clear up. And even if everything's not fully resolved, you're sensing where your energy needs to go next. So the moon is going to be full of aspects, and it's one of those days where you want to pay attention to your emotions. So, this is a heavy water and fire type of day. So, this is a lot of emotional, psychic, intuitive energy, but with the potential to feel overstimulated or emotionally reactive. So, you might feel the need to, or you might feel pulled between security and freedom. So, feeling the need to feel secure or, step out of your comfort zones, um, between that emotional comfort. So the moon is talking to pretty much everything, all of the planets pretty much on Tuesday. And this is about receiving a download and then figuring out what to do with it. So, some positive expressions of this energy on Tuesday is a beautiful moment of emotional clarity or spiritual confirmation. Um, you could have some deep conversations that help you feel seen or understood. Um, you could be motivated to act on what you feel and not just think about it. So, some challenging expressions of this energy on Tuesday would be mood swings or impulsive emotional decisions. Mars is at the final degree. So, taking on other people's emotions or energies and not even realizing it, or feeling overwhelmed by too many intuitive signals all at once. So, some things that you can do on Tuesday is let yourself flow, but don't force any action until your emotions settle. Do some creative work or some rituals. Any spiritual practices that might help you get grounded would be really helpful on Tuesday night. And if you need a sign, this is a day where you'll probably get it. Tuesday is a good day where you can pray and ask for signs, and you'll probably receive them. So some questions that you can ask yourself on Tuesday are: what feelings am I finally ready to move through instead of sit in? What intuitive nudge have I been ignoring? And what do I feel safe, or who do I feel safe opening up to, and why? Now let's move over to Wednesday, April the 16th. The moon is in Sagittarius all day, but it goes void. And then Mercury will re enter Aries in conjunct Neptune in Aries. So the mind clears, but with a little bit of fog still lingering. Mercury re entering Aries early on Wednesday morning, and later on Wednesday night. Like I said, Mercury will conjunct Neptune in Aries. So this all of this energy that I'm talking about kind of sounds like a contradiction if you understand how these aspects work, but it's really not. This configuration is like realizing something through a dream or a song lyric or even like slip of the tongue. It's bold and it's mystical. So say what you mean but feel into it first is what this energy is all about on Wednesday. The moon goes void early on Wednesday, so this whole day might feel a little foggy or untethered. It's like you're absorbing things or integrating some things. So don't force any deep conversations or decisions just yet. This is a download type of day. Let the insights come to you, especially at night. So if you've been waiting for a sign, clarity, or closure, it's arriving soon, but it might not come in the way that you think. So some positive expressions of this energy would be some intuitive breakthroughs, you receiving some sort of uh, spiritual download through poetry or music, some creative flow. You might have the energy to create, or suddenly understanding something that felt unclear for weeks. Some challenging expressions of this energy on Wednesday would be feeling confused, or not really having any boundaries, mental overload or spacing out. You could be dealing with miscommunication or projection. So, what you can do on Wednesday is meditate, pray, journal, listen up, and observe to any intuitive downloads. Watch your dreams and thoughts Wednesday night because they potentially mean something. And speak from your spirit, not your ego. Now, some questions that you can ask yourself on Wednesday are: what truth has been hiding in plain sight? What's no longer worth overthinking? What conversation do I need to have with myself? So let's move over to Thursday. That concludes Wednesday. So Thursday, April the 17th, the moon is still in Sagittarius, but Mars will re enter Leo. And that's bringing a huge shift in our motivation and confidence. You may feel a little extra, but in a good way. It's like Mars in Leo is that take up space type of energy, especially with the moon in Sagittarius. This is like the combo of like a bold visionary, but be mindful because passion can tip over into ego really quick if you're not grounded. So Mars moving into Leo reignites some sort of creative drive, and it's probably calling you back to take some sort of main character energy in your life, especially if you've been feeling unseen or emotionally drained. This is like you remembering that you are that girl, that boy, that they, them, however you identify. Just make sure you are acting from a place of confidence and not defense. So, some positive expressions of this energy on Thursday is feeling energized to create, speak out loud, or lead, reclaiming your voice or presence after a low energy cycle, and letting go of fear of being too much. So, some challenging expressions of this is an inflated ego, power struggles, passive aggressive shade. That's that Atlanta Housewives or Real Housewives type of shade. Reclaiming your voice or presence after, hold on, let me rewind that. My eyes are crossed. I'm rereading the positive expressions. So challenging expressions: inflated egos, power struggles, passive aggressive shade, emotional outburst, or guilt tripping, frustration around visibility or validation. And some things that you can do on Thursday is move your body, starting some sort of workout routine. Also, expressing yourself, getting creative about something. Leo is that energy of creativity and being bold and wanting to be seen. But be mindful of attention seeking behaviors, with that Leo energy and Sagittarius energy on Thursday, especially from yourself or others. Just be mindful of that and call your power back too. No shrinking yourself with this Mars transit. So, some questions that you can ask yourself on Thursday are: am I expressing or performing? What does being seen mean to me right now? And where am I afraid to take up space? So that concludes Thursday. Let's move over to Friday. Friday is a bit more serious and like sobering. It's a bit more of a reality check. The moon will be in Capricorn, or move into Capricorn Friday morning when most of us are headed to work. So this is like an emotional mature day. After all of that fire energy and emotion earlier throughout the week, Friday might feel a bit more grounded, but not necessarily easy with that Capricorn moon. Um, it's like get serious about your energy type of day. And the moon will also form a lot of squares before it moves into Capricorn. So the moon in Sagittarius will square the North Node, and Saturn right before it moves into Capricorn. And then when it moves into Capricorn, it will square Neptune and Mercury. So this is a day where there's a lot of tensions, potential choices. It might feel like a pressure cooker type of day, but they may force us, the tension or challenges that come up with these squares, it might force us to grow in some way. So this is a day where your boundaries, habits, and responsibilities are all talking to each other, and they're asking, are they aligned? Are you walking your talk? So some positive expressions of this energy on Friday would be refocusing your energy on long-term goals, detaching from emotional distractions, realizing what's been draining your mental bandwidth. So, some challenging expressions of this would be guilt tripping yourself with that Capricorn energy, feeling like you're never doing enough, misunderstandings, or emotional distance. So, what you can do with this Capricorn energy and all of these squares on Friday would be to reorganize your schedule and reassess your priorities, and try not to take things too personally. Focus on what you can control, and some questions that you can ask yourself are, what's my emotional baseline right now? What habits are helping, and what habits are just performative? Where do I need to take myself more seriously? So Friday feels a bit more serious. Let's move over to Saturday, where we'll probably start to feel a little bit more grounded and at peace within our bodies, especially with the sun moving into Taurus, Mars talking to Neptune, and Uranus speaking with the nodes. This energy is about stability, softness, and like a spiritual reset. So Taurus season begins, and it comes with a craving for peace, and simplicity after all of the chaos from eclipse season. This is like your exhale type of season. So ground yourself in what's real and make space for divine timing on Saturday. um it's a spiritually rich day, but it's not really in a flashy way. It's kind of like the energy where a simple walk, a quiet moment, or even like an intuitive download might shift everything for you. It's also a great day to revisit a dream, a goal, or a creative idea that you had put on pause. So, some positive expressions of this energy on Saturday would be some grounded inspiration, feeling more in tune with your path, and purpose, and also a moment of divine alignment. Now, some challenging expressions of this would be laziness, masking it as rest, confusing detachment with peace, and expecting instant results from spiritual processes like shadow work. So, what you can do on Saturday is just slow down and check in with your values system, reconnect with your body and your senses. It's a good day to do some body scan meditations. So, some questions that you can ask yourself on Saturday are, what actually nourishes me? Where am I trying to rush something that needs my time? What does peace feel like in my body? So that's it for Saturday. Let's move over to Sunday, April the 20th, which is actually one of the most astrologically active days of the week. And we also have the third quarter moon phase. So we're closing out eclipse season, this moon cycle. So this is a day about breakthroughs and pushback. Sunday is packed with a lot of aspects. We've got Venus, Mercury, Pluto, Mars, and the sun all being involved. And then the third quarter moon phase brings emotional turning points for us. This is a face it, don't fake it type of day. You'll probably feel something in your body is off. This energy, or Sunday, is the culmination point of the week, honestly, and pretty much the month. It's karmic insights, emotional honesty, and spiritual downloads all happening at once. Venus is on the North Node, and this is all about some sort of clarity within our relationships, our values around money, and also what these things truly mean to us and what's truly meant for us. So the sun squaring Mars, this is friction. It's almost like a final challenge, and it's asking, are you going to act on what you know now? So Sunday could be some positive expressions of this, could be like aha moments, or some sort of energetic closure, something involving divine timing and inspired action. And some challenging aspects of this energy, or expressions of this energy, would be tension between your desires and your discipline. Also, old triggers starting to resurface, frustrations with timing, people, or yourself. So, some things that you can do is just let things fall as they do, or may. Don't rush anything, or don't try to interpret everything. If something ends or shifts on Sunday, trust that it's just on your timeline, that it's for your greatest good, your highest expression. And you can also journal, voice note, or just simply process what's going on. So, some questions that you can ask are: what truth am I no longer willing to ignore? How have I changed since the Venus retrograde began? And what part of me is finally ready to move on? So this closed out the forecast, or the astrological forecast, for the week of April the 14th through the 20th. And as always, take what resonates and leave the rest. If you've been feeling these shifts in your own life and want support through a deeper lens, you can book a reading with me through the link in the show notes. But please note that I've added a pre-screening step and updated my prices to reflect the time and the energy that I put into my work. But you can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube for more daily and weekly updates. And if this episode spoke to you, feel free to leave a review, share it with your community, your friends, or tag me in social media. I love hearing how these transits are showing up in y'all's life. So until next time, make sure you keep your energy clear, your boundaries strong, and your heart open. I'll see y'all in the next one.